crystals, which look like this just here. Let me just check YouTube. Apparently there's a bit of a problem on YouTube. Let's just check that is working. Apparently YouTube wasn't working, but it should be all on now. Do you know, it's really annoying. There's a little button. I click the button and it says go live, and then if I click off from that, it goes tick, 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 and if I move away from the screen, it doesn't go live until I come back. So hopefully YouTube will all be working now. Facebook will be all back on. So sorry about that to the people on YouTube. If you missed the first few minutes, I don't know what happened there, but hopefully it should all be working again now. So I don't know what happened there, but thankfully it appears to be all working now. So sorry about that to the people on YouTube. So it should be all fine now. So anyway, like I said, I'm going to be showing you how to make the bracelet that goes with this gorgeous necklace just here. The crystals that I'm going to be using are the 6mm crystal cubes, just because they really pack a punch with the sparkle. And then, of course, on top of that, you've also got your 6x4 crystal donuts there, and you also have your 4mm crystals inside there as well. So you can see here are the 4mm crystals, here are the 6x4mm crystals, and then we also have those big crystal cubes in there as well. They're 6mm. You need some head pins, a clasp. You just need a couple of silver beads as well, which I'm using tiger tail jewellery wire. And then we also have some crimps and crimp covers. So if you don't know what computer hernia, obviously. 1 second. Hopefully, there we go. Sorry, my my monitor decided to turn itself off. So I don't know what's going on. Okay. Hopefully it's all good now. God, I tell you, it's a disaster of a day today. I don't know what's happening. But anyway, so the tiger tail jewelry wire is this stuff just here. It is this gorgeous little material that we can use that basically is a spool of stainless steel wire. They're all intertwined with one another so that it gives you this really, really strong finish, and then it is like waxed on the outside, or not so much waxed, but it's got like a plastic coating, a nylon coating on the outside that makes it soft, but also so it doesn't catch, it doesn't get all tangled or anything like that. So if you've never seen that before, that's this particular stuff. Of course, with this one, we use what are called crimp beads, which are these teeny weeny little fellas just in here that you squish, and when you squash them, basically they lock the wire in place with whatever you have on the end. So I'm going to cut myself to begin with a length. I've got my tool set just here. So if you want to get this one, you can get this from the Bead Spider website. It's got all 8 tools in it. The one that I'm going to be using first, so I need the cutters, of course, today. These are not completely necessary, but optional and useful. So this one here are our wire straighteners. Then we also have our round nose pliers in here as well. And I'll also use these ones just here, which are a gripping plier as well. If you need scissors or a pair of tweezers, we have those as well. I can also use the bent nose pliers if I want to, so I'll get those out for now. So we're going to be using quite a few of the little tools that are in there. I'm also going to use one of these little thread stopper pieces on there as well. So this little fella is going to be quite useful, but I'll show you a bit later on what that is for. For now, I'm going to just use my cutters just here, and I'm going to cut myself a length of wire. Basically, you only need around about, let's say, so because we're doing a bracelet length, you probably only need about 30 centimeters worth of the wire. So you can either use a pair of old scissors, or you can come in with your cutters and just give that a good old snipping. So if I just get my cutters out just here. So 30 centimeters is enough, about 12 inches or so. Just going to spool myself some off and give that a cut. Just there we go. And now with this, I can start making my beautiful design. So let's get all this demo pieces out of the way for now, and then we will begin. So because I'm going to be using a toggle, what I will do is basically crimp my toggle onto the end of my wire. So the way that we're going to do that, you also get included, or if you want to make it yourself, some little 4mm round beads like this. So what we have here, we use those crimp beads and the 4mm rounds. The reason we're using 4mm rounds is just to give ourselves a little bit more space, as it were, around our little clasp section so it works nicely. So I'll show you what these crimps, what they look like and how they work. So basically what we're going to do is pick up one crimp bead, which they are itty bitty teeny weeny little fellas. See that? Look at that. Look how small that is. So because they're this small, there's two benefits to it. One, you don't really see them, and two, they're actually super easy to hide if you want to use crimp covers. So I'm going to thread on my little crimp just here. Then I'll also thread on one 4mm bead. You'll see in a minute why I've got the 4mm bead. So just thread that on to the wire as well. The great thing about this wire is it's quite stiff, so you don't actually have to use a needle with it. You can just thread that on. Then we're going to thread on the first side of our clasp just here. And then we're going to loop back, and we're going to go through both of these two beads. So the 4mm round bead and also our crimp bead. Just hold the two wires together like so, and then just slide it over the top like this, and then I'm going to just slide it on down towards that little fella just there. So see that? You want to test that the clasp moves freely and nicely, so make sure that this little ball isn't pressed up too close to your clasp. You want to make sure that it moves freely like this. So no tighter than this, definitely not. You could even go a little bit looser than this. And then once you have that, we're going to just bring in our standard pliers. So these ones here, see how they are flat on the inside? They don't have any ridges. That is going to allow us to squash this little bead, and we don't actually have to worry about the crimp not working properly. So if I just bring my pliers and I hold my little crimp bead, see that? I'm going to bring it nice and close to that little 4mm ball, and then give it a real firm squeeze like that, see? So that's going to put that little fella nice and close, but see how there's a teeny bit of space. Hopefully that'll get in focus. There we go. See how there's a little bit of space just there? This is going to give us room to use what is called a crimp cover. Now, if you also notice, see how these two threads are perfectly side by side? That's why we had this 4mm bead. If you didn't have a 4mm bead there, it's really difficult to get these two lines of wire to be directly side by side. So by adding in that little 4mm bead between the clasp and where the crimp is, you get a much closer little spot to where your little clasp will actually connect. So now if I grab myself one of those crimp covers, here we go. So a crimp cover is this fella just here. See that? So it's essentially like a horseshoe shape. And the reason that we're going to use this, and the reason why it's horseshoe use like our pliers to close it down around our little crimp bead there. So if you have a look, we can squeeze, 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 squeeze like that, and it will become a nice 4mm ball that's going to sit nicely beside our other 4mm bead as well. So if I just grab my pliers, this works better if you have a bead mat, but obviously I want you guys to be able to see what I'm doing. So I'm going to just do it in my hands, but definitely a bead mat is far better. You want to just slip that crimp inside of that crimp cover. So see that? Almost like Pac-Man eating a little piece of digital Pac-Man food. Just hold it like this so that that crimp is hiding inside of your crimp cover. And then just very gently bring in your pliers and give it a nice gentle squeeze. Hopefully it will just, with a little bit of persuasion, close on up. You'll see like this, if I show it to you sideways, that now it kind of looks like the mouth is still open. So what we're doing now is going to give this a little bit of a squeeze. So sort of like on the angle, so like to push this one slightly more towards this way, push this one slightly more inwards as well, so that we get that nice shape happening that's more spherical. So just take your time with it and give it very gentle little squeezes in lots of directions until that little horseshoe closes up and you end up with a perfectly round little ball. So see that? Now that that's closed over, it looks like you've got as well again. And so it works out really, really nicely so that it is clean and finished beautifully, looking really, really neat right there. And it just looks like two little silver balls on the end there. And you can see this is still nice and loose, and we can still move it around. And then that little squished crimp fella is now hidden inside that cover. So now, first thing that we're going to do is just get one more little 4mm silver bead, and then basically we're ready to actually begin making our project and the little components that we're going to use for this design. So if I just thread that little 4mm bead on, go over the top of that last little bead, just wiggle it on there, and this is basically ready now to be put aside for a bit. So have a look just here. There it is. You've got your clasp and 3 silver beads, and we're going to set that aside just now. So what we'll do next, we're going to take a load of our 6x4 crystals, and we're going to make these teeny weeny little components, which we will use as sort of with our head pins here. Let me just pour them out onto the table here. So yeah, we'll grab ourselves a bunch of these slightly bigger ones. So these are the 6x4 crystals, the larger ones. These ones here are your 4mm crystals. So see how the 4mm ones obviously are a little bit smaller, just here. And then you've got your 6x4 crystal donuts here, which are going to be our large, more feature-sized beads just here. So don't worry about the 3x4s for now. We will be using those later. Just now, all we need are our 6mm little donut beads, 6x4 donuts. So what we'll do with these basically is turn them into a load of these little components just here. So we'll take one little bead, one head pin, and we're going to create a lovely little loop that is going to hold our little bead in place so that we can string them onto this wire piece that we've made just here, and eventually string them on as a nice little design so that they look like this. So see how there's one of those little components which has that lovely little silver ball on the end, and then there's the little loops, each one, and there's little components. Each one has 3 little beads in a section around that, and that's what gives us this chunkier look about the design, but also looks ultra sparkly. So if I move that around, you can see how much those crystals catch the light. we're really making the most of the sparkliness of these crystals by using ones that have such gorgeous faceted shapes over the top of them. So I'll show you two different ways that you can do this. One, which is the more, I guess, traditional way, the organic method. And then I've also got, like I said, a really cool little tool. And we're going to use that tool to save ourselves quite a bit of time. How you prefer to do it is up to you. Obviously, I will be showing you both methods, but it is a fantastic little thing that we're going to show you as well. So make sure you keep an eye on that keep an eye out for that. That's coming in just a minute. But for now, I'm going to pop this little bead onto, if you don't know what these are, if you've never seen them ever before, this is a type of what is called head pin. The reason it's called a head pin is because you have a pin with a head. Simple, right? Makes sense. So the head pins, they can come with flat ends, they can come with little ball ends. I'm using the ball end ones because I find that they're a bit more decorative. We're going to thread beads onto our head pin like this. The little ball on the end stops the bead from coming off. See that? Just lugs on there. And now what we can do is, all we have to do is roll that down into a nice little loop. So we're going to cut our wire. So I'm going to bring in my cutters once again, and I'm going to cut my wire about 1.5 centimeters above my bead. So when you're looking at this, you might go, wow, that's a bit long for just a single loop. Don't worry. You'll soon see why we have it slightly longer. So just give that a cut. That's going to remove this little bit of excess that we don't need. And now I'm going to use my round nose pliers. Remember those fellas? The ones just here, they're called round nose pliers because essentially they have this cone shape just here, and this is what we use to create little loops. So remember how I showed you in that little component, how it has a loop just here at the top? This loop is made by using these round nose pliers. Now, this particular type of loop that we're going to make is a little bit easier than a standard loop. A standard loop, you want to be nice and central. These ones, not so much, actually. It's kind of better if they're not exactly in the center. So what we'll do, what I like to do, if I zoom out just here so you can see my hand a bit better, is take my tool in my hand like this. So I've got my hand like this, and what I'll do is basically I want to rotate my work like this. So if I bring my hand nice and flat, hold it like this, and then what we'll do is basically grip the very, very tip of our wire with this piece here. So if I've got my hand flat like this, if you come from the underside like that, by the way, I should mention, if you go right at the tip, you'll get a really small loop. If you go down here, you'll get a massive loop. So we want to have a relatively small loop just here. And that will give us a nice position. Kay has asked, where's Jermaine? Is she back from vacation? No, they went on holiday. They'll be back in 2 weeks. Well, a bit over a week now. They've gone on a cruise to the Baltics, which is lovely. So they've gone to Estonia and Lithuania and Latvia, and now I think they're in Denmark or something. So they're having a lovely holiday. So they're not back yet, but soon they will be. Leslie said, just bought the kit in 3 different colorways. Fantastic, Leslie. Which colors did you go for? By the way, just in case you didn't know, it's any 3 or more, so you can get all 5, but I'll show you that a bit later anyway. Welcome to Kaylee, by the way. She won our competition a couple of weeks ago, so congratulations, Kaylee. This is the first time I've seen you. So anyway, now that I've got this, you can see I've got that nice and flush. See how you can't see any of the wire sticking out like this? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate my hand so that it is like it looks kind of awkward. Like I'm twisting my hand as far as I can towards the outside. So once I've got my hand like this, I can slide my bead back basically roll my little piece all the way, this loop, I can roll it all the way over and over and over as far as I need to until I reach this piece. So by having my hand in this sort of slightly contorted way, it gives me extra room to roll more. See, look, I'll show you what I mean. If I roll my hand as far as I can roll it, so a complete turn, that's going to bring me almost as far over as I can get on this one single turn. So see that? That's going to give me a nice bit of a turn there. I can do a bit more now, roll it a bit further, roll it further, until we end up with a little loop at the top of our work, like so. See that? That gives us a nice little loop. And by the way, it doesn't matter if it's not central on your bead. It's kind of better if it's not central. So see that? Also, you'll notice that it overlaps. Oh, my monitor's died again. I don't know what's happening with my monitor today. It seems like I don't know what's going on. I think we're having a bit of technical troubles here because we've had a bit of we had a bit of a storm last night. So I think there's a bit of technical issues going on with our electrics or our internet connection. I don't know what's going on, but hopefully it won't persist much longer. So sorry about the troubles, but yeah, a bit of a storm. So anyway, yeah, you can see just here, it's got a slight overlap. Wait, come on, focus, my little friend, focus. There we go. So yeah, you can see it overlaps a bit. Just that little bit of an overlap makes it that little bit more secure so that our wire can't come off. See that? So it rolls around and the tip is just over there. See? You can see if I just roll it sideways, see how it overlaps a little. You're going to make a load of those just here as well. So you can see, once you've got that, we're going to make lots and lots of them. We need them in groups of 3. So once once we have lots of these little groups of 3, I think for the bracelet, it's around about 26 or so that you need to make. So you can see I've actually pre-made several of them. There's loads that I've already got, but I'm going to make one more that you'll see in just a second. See, look, you need to just make more and more and more and more and more of them and make sure they've all got that slight overlap. The reason that you want to have a little overlap is so that when we thread it onto our thread, string them onto our jewelry wire, they can't come undone. Now, as promised, let me show you the express way of doing it. So, because you need to make so many, I have a tool which we've got. If you click the link in the description that takes you to the Bead Spider website, you can get this. This is called a looper. And basically what a looper does, it takes one head pin and automates the whole process for you in one go. So all you have to do is put your bead on, slide it down into this tool and squeeze it, and it will make the whole loop for you. So if I just grab myself another head pin, which I had a nice extra long one so you can really see how it works. This works with both head pins but also with wire. So it's up to you how that, if you want to use long head pins or short ones, both works. But check this out. So if you have a long head pin, you can just thread your bead on, like so, and wait till you see how quick this is. Just hold the bead in. Problem again, I think. There we go. That will carry on. Sorry about all these little pauses. It's I'm sure it's as frustrating for you as it is for me. So anyway, now that we have this sitting just here, all you have to do is bring this little pin. See, there's a tiny hole just here. We're going to take the pin and put it into that hole, like that. Slide this all the way down to your work, to like the edge of the tool here. Try not to get it inside the tool like I just did. And then just give that a gentle squeeze. So there's that little piece sitting nicely like that. And ready, watch this. This is a great tool. It cuts the head pin and rolls it perfectly into a nice little loop there. That's funny. That didn't work quite the way I hoped. My wire's too thin. 1 second. Let me grab another one. I didn't use the tool properly. Great work there, Matthew. Well done. Here we go. Let's use it on a gold one, shall we? Lucky I've got some spare ones around. So almost the same. Thread that on to your work through that little hole there, and then get it pressed against and just give that a nice little squeeze, and that will just loop that around, take this little piece out, and give you a gorgeous little loop. Whoops. Like so. So your loop is made for you automatically. It's pretty much already there and closed. If you need to, you can also put it back on that little piece and it extra secure. Just do it an extra time there if you need to. And then if you have a look, because we want to roll it a little bit further past, all you have to do is just grab your plier and just give it an extra little half a turn there, and that will get that nicely into position, done, dusted, already nice and quickly, just like that there, and you've got another piece made in just seconds. So it is a fantastic tool for doing these really quickly. If you have a lot of these loops to do, it makes it so much quicker. Plus it's a really neat loop as well, which the loop is 2.25 millimeters across. The great thing as well is if you have any leftover little pieces, you can also just put them straight into the tool and make eye pins with them really quickly as well. So if I just do that here really quickly, there's one side onto that piece there, and then look at this, ready into the other side. If it's a bit short that it doesn't reach the hole, don't worry, that's fine too. And then just give that a squeeze, and that's going to turn that into a lovely little component with a loop on both sides. Look at that, quick, easy, and super neat, and makes fantastic, perfect little loops every time. So look at that. How did you like that? A nice simple little piece, so that makes them quite a bit quicker, and if you have little leftover bits like this, it uses them up. But essentially, this tool will work for any wire that is 0.4 mil all the way up to being 1 mil in thickness. Any wires of those sizes will work nicely. So yeah, that's that little tool just there. This is called a looper. If you want to go and get a looper, you can get it from the link in the and that will be there. There's not too many in stock, so if you're going to get one, go really quick. And while you're there, feel free to get the kit as well. Stock is quite low of those. We don't have too many of them left, but I thought it was the perfect day to show you what it looks like. It's a great little tool. So anyway, now that we have done that, we can get back to... Becky says, I love that. I may need that tool. There was someone else who said something about that one who was like, wow, that's amazing. Where was it? Oh well, doesn't matter. Anyway, now that you've got, once you've made yourself all of those little component pieces, like I said, you can make yourself loads of them. I think it's about 26 or so that you need overall in total, because we do use them in groups of 3. Which I'll have one too many now, but you can see I have lots and lots and lots of them, and we're going to just string them up in the same design. This is, by the way, what that rainbow color looks like. I know I couldn't show it to you earlier, but this one I have it now. Here it is. This one is the rainbow color. I will, of course, show you what they all look like a bit later on the Bead Spider website, so make sure you stick around for that. And apologies about the freezing that's going on. It's not... It's, I don't know, I think we had a bit of a storm, so we've got a problem with our connection, but it's not common. It doesn't usually happen. Anyone who watches my streams will tell you it is not a common occurrence. So anyway, now that I have this just here, at this point, you can start making your bracelet. So the first thing that we're going to do is start adding on a few of these little beads as we need them. So what I mean by that is we're going to start creating our little design like this. So if you have a look, you've got your 4mm beads, then a cube, then a 4mm, then 3 of your components, a 4mm, a cube, 4mm components, 4mm cube, 4mm components, 4mm cube, 4mm components, 4mm cube, 4mm, and so forth, all the way around. That was surprisingly difficult to say, but I managed it. Well done to me. So yeah. So now that we have that, I'm going to start stringing them all together. So I've got my 4mm bead here. I'll just put a couple on. Of course, see how we've still got this extra bit of wire? We can thread that on down. So at this point, I think the overall design makes a 8-inch bracelet, if you've got 26 of the things, I think. The necklace is the same as well. It's just adding these bits to the end to turn it into a necklace. But this central section piece is the same for both the bracelet and the necklace as well. So once you've got that, we're going to put one 4mm. We'll put a second 4mm over the top, 4mm crystal there, put that over the top as well. Slide that on down, and I'm going to just cover that up. Now I'll grab myself a cube. And so do you remember that pattern? I did a good job of saying it. So we'll do 4mm, a cube, a 4mm, the components, a 4mm, then a cube, and so forth. So there's my cube just there. Once again, if you haven't seen those, they are absolutely gorgeous. They've got these faceted, like the corners are sort of cut so that they are really, really sparkly. Even the We have a question here from Andrea who says, what size is the tiger tail? So we actually sell a really, really good quality tiger tail. Not all tiger tail is made equal. Ours is really, really kink resistant. It's 0.38 of a millimeter, so really, really fine. So it means that you can use more strands if you want to. It's extra strong, but has a beautiful drape, and it's pretty kink resistant. Like for example, if I show you one of the necklaces here, you can literally smush the necklace into your hand like this, and it still doesn't have any kinks whatsoever. So it's a really good quality jewelry wire, which is important because if you use a poorer quality tiger tail jewelry wire, you can get poor results and it doesn't last so long. So this stuff just here, tiger tail jewelry wire, I think it's about 7 or 8 strands of stainless steel, all wrapped together and then coated in nylon, and the nylon gives it a really smooth finish. So anyway, now that we have this, if just threading on our beads, I'm going to do one of these little 4mm. And as I said, we're going to do 3 components. So 1, and this is why we wrapped them so that they were slightly overlapping. If you have a gap, it can sort of slip out of the gap and you can lose your components. Hence why you want to have a slight overlap, sort of like turning it into a split ring, and then that way it can't come off. Now you don't want it to wrap around too many times, because when you start adding the components on together, let me just cover that little wire. You can cut this little trim that little excess bit off. But yeah, once you start adding these on, if you have like 2 loops or 3 whole loops rather than just a slight crossover, this little metal section can become quite heavy in terms of like visually looking like a lot of metal in the gaps. So if you have just a couple, just that one single loop, they all compress down way better. But if you have lots and lots of double, multiple loops together, it can, here's one where they've got lots of multiple loops. See how it's a bit more, see how you can see more metal. These ones were the first one we made, and the loops we made them all doubles, but this one you want to do it as single so that there's not so much metal showing. It's a little bit more delicate. So see that? Only a tiny amount of metal shows when you do it like that. So now I'll add on my next 4mm like so. We'll thread it on down, and then this is going to just lock that component section nicely into place like so, and I'll get my next couple of beads as well. So we'll go another cube followed by another 4mm, then we'll also add on 3 more components, so 1, 2 and 3, then another 4mm bead. And we're going to just keep adding them on, adding them on, adding them on. Then another cube. Then we have another 4mm. So just slide them on down. Obviously, there we go. That's nice. See that's coming together nicely now? And you can just keep going. It's really, really easy. Very, very quick and simple. Now, this little fella just here, if you're making the necklace, because you want to make the piece really, really symmetrical, like this one here, what we tell you to do is we recommend that instead of doing one side of your clasp, and then attaching all of the beads and then doing this central section so that you can adjust your design to be exactly the size that you want it to be, what we recommend is if you use one of these little fellas here, you can put it onto your jewelry wire. So if you've got a piece of your jewelry wire, pop that on there like so, and then you can just thread on your beads. So put it further down, wherever you want it to be, so that you have some space to add your clasp on there a bit later. And then this little section you can use for adding your clasp. You can add all of your beads. They'll slide down to this little point just here, which I'll show you very, very quickly what I mean. And then once you have the entirety of your design beads added, so if I start with cube, 4mm, and then our components, 1, 2, 3. You only need one of these little things. You can see it just holds them, so it stops the work. It secures everything from coming off at the end. I'll show you. Angelica says, does anyone have any? I will show you a little technique that is, I think, a good one for doing toggle clasps when you're trying to put them on. You can, of course, just replace them with a lobster claw if you prefer, or maybe like a hook clasp, something like that. Whatever clasp is easy for you, you can always just swap it. But anyway, once you've got that on there, you can just continue adding your beads. You can put it directly to the center, and then if you want to get your sizing exactly right, just imagine that I've got a lovely long section, which is the entirety of my necklace. If you do it in this way, you can, once you have your middle section added, you can add beads to each side, one at a time, to make sure that it's going to fit you exactly. So it sits exactly where you want it. So if you have a look, see how on me it's sitting here. If you want it to be a little bit lower, you can continue to add beads, and you can adjust the size to be exactly the way that you want it to be like that if you use one of these little fellas that will allow you to do the whole crimp section later. So if you don't have to do the crimp at the beginning, it means that once you want to change the side, if you make the whole thing up and you go, do you know what? It's 2 beads too many. You don't have to undo the whole necklace. You can just take this fella off and say, okay, let's remove a couple of beads from this end and then put the thing back on and make your second side match, and it's all way easier for making the 2 sides match each other symmetrically. So anyway, I'll just continue now adding beads to this little thing. Once you've got this sorted, the actual process of turning it into a bracelet is super quick. It doesn't take very long at all, so I'm going to just smash these little beads onto my wire so I can show you how to finish it off. Then I can connect my toggle up and we can move on, and I'll show you how to finish it off. So if we just take a minute, now is a great time while I'm threading beads up. If you have any questions whatsoever or any tips you want to know about, just ask them right now down in the comments. Of course, if you want to get the kit, you can get it at 15% off when you choose any 3 or more colors. It's a really gorgeous, crystally, sparkly design. So if you've got some different ones, for example, the silver one is very popular, usually very, very popular when you want to get those neutral colors, because the silver one will go with anything. It's great for nighttime, for example. The rainbow one is great for your daytime attire because, again, by being rainbow, it goes with everything. And the nice thing is you've got the matching necklace and bracelet set, and you'll probably end up with beads left over and maybe some head pins that you could even make yourself a really cute little pair of matching earrings as well from the one kit. I would think. But anyway, anybody got any questions, put them in the comments right now. I've got my eyes peeled, ready, waiting for those. And while I just thread these beads on, which won't take me much longer, hopefully we can get through some questions in case anybody has them. Now, there we go. Tell you that next Friday we have something very big. Kay says, is there a trick in closing crimp beads? So it's not so much a trick, but a tip is just squeeze it once and squeeze it really, really hard. When it comes to crimp beads, you are much better off if you just squeeze it the one time, because if you squeeze it more than once, it can sort of weaken your crimp. So basically you want to just give it one really hard squeeze. If your hands aren't strong enough, give it a squeeze with one hand, don't loosen, and then relax your hand a little bit, don't let the tool come off, and then use both hands to go squeeze really hard, but just one squeeze, because you want it to be flat. You don't want to squeeze it flat down and then rotate and squeeze it the other way. That will make the crimp come off loose. Another tip is also to make sure that you have very good pliers that close very nicely. So if you have a look like this, you want to make sure that the close is very, very flush. So see this just here, if you look at that down there, we've got ones that are very, very good quality. You don't want to have any gaps. So like, for example, if you're squishing your crimp down here, you can see there's a little bit of space at the bottom, which obviously is useful for if you're doing bigger things, but it's not so good to squeeze your crimp in this section here where there's a tiny gap. You want to do it where the pliers will go absolutely flat with one another. This is in response to Kay's question, by the way, in case you were wondering, about the best way of doing your crimp beads. Now, also, I saw someone's question earlier about the crimp covers, which is on how to squeeze those. Like I said, you squeeze it down until it looks a bit like So instead of being a horseshoe shape anymore, the two backs of the thing just touch each other, and then you've got a bit facing up this way and a bit facing up that way. And then all you have to do is squeeze sort of in opposite directions. I'm going to show you how I do it again in a minute anyway, so you'll see it when I do it a second time. And then Angelica has a question about toggles, but once I've got this toggle added onto this, I'll deal with your question, Angelica, then, because then I'll have a toggle that I can show you. But basically, it's about using the back of your hand, the back of your wrist, to try and get the actual toggle on when you do that. It can be a little bit tricky sometimes if you're not too well practiced at putting on toggles. It's definitely an acquired art. We're almost at the end now. I might just do I have one more? Do I have any more components? Yes, I've got a couple more components. So I'll just do one more group. And then that will finish off, I think. Maybe I'll finish off here because I don't think I've got any more cubes. So there we go. So I'm going to make sure that both sides are symmetrical. Oh no, wait, am I not far enough yet? Maybe not. Maybe I'll do a couple more. Take these ones off from my other piece. Oops, sorry. Have I got my cubes? Yeah, this will do. One last little component set, and we can move on. So there we go. Put on that last little bead. One component, two components, three components, 4mm bead, and finally one last cube. There we go. And now, like I said, we want it to be symmetrical. So we're going to also add on 2 more 4mm and then one of our little 3mm metal round beads. So 1 4mm, 2 4mm, and 1 silver bead. There we go. So now we want to add on the second side of our clasp. Obviously at this point you would want to check that the size is going to fit you. That is very important. But first things first, I'm going to grab myself another one of those little crimp beads, like so. See that teeny weeny fellow there? I'll thread him on like this. Then another 4mm bead. And the second side of our toggle clasp. See that? There's that other side of the toggle. Now, if you're getting the kit, it does include both a toggle and a lobster clasp. So it's up to you if you a bit easier. If you find doing toggles a bit easier with 2 hands, you can make the necklace have the toggle and the bracelet can have the lobster claw if you find that a bit easier. But anyway, it's up to you. So now, have a look. Don't forget to leave a little bit of space for your crimp cover. So basically we're going to thread back down some of these beads through the crimp cover as well. So just start by just going through this 4mm bead and the crimp just to get started. I'm going to slide them up out of the way so that we can sort of get into some of these beads a bit easier. So spend a little bit of time. You don't need to be going through too many beads, just enough that you can cut the thread and it has a bit of space. This is enough, for example, if you want to stop here. And now basically we're going to just figure out which thread is which. So that's always an important thing to do. So see that? See how one thread goes down, comes through this bead just here and creates that loop shape, and then one of these is going to pull. So if you have a look, see how it's this side here is the one that is moving. So this piece is connected to here, which you can also test that by, which I'll show you in a minute. If you slide your work down all the way, one piece, if you get your round nose pliers, you can grab one of the threads with the round nose pliers, and if you give this a pull, it will still move. If you grab the other thread with the round nose pliers and give this a pull, it won't pull anymore. So you know that this side here is connected to this. Once you've got these nicely compressed and firm and right where you want them, compress it down like this. Obviously, you will make your finished bracelet will be longer than this one just here, which if I find my silver one, you can see. But it's got quite a few extra beads that you can add on, but I'm just making a short one just now so that it will be a bit quicker, because otherwise you don't want to just sit there while I'm making this whole thing. So now, if you grab this little thread here, in that gap, you can pull on this thread and it will bring that clasp down. Now the good thing is that this amount, if you grab it so that there's just about just a little bit of space in there. When you pull that down, if you've got the very tip of your plier in there, it will, careful not to get your toggle bar caught. I don't think I've ever done that before. Wow, good one. Get that in there and see how this gives you a little bit of space. See, it's quite a big gap in there right now. So if you have a look, this is a little bit larger than we would want, but don't forget that we need to fit the crimp in the crimp cover inside here. So let's move that last little bead up. If we have a look at this crimp, you'll see it's got about the right amount of space here. We can maybe pull it a little bit smaller, but you want to make sure you have enough space for the crimp cover. It's way better to have too much space than not enough. So here's my little crimp just here in the center, and we're going to give that, like I said, one squeeze very, very firmly in just one direction. So if I just come on in with my pliers right at the tip where they close best, and I'll show you what I mean. I'll give it a squeeze just once, and now ease off just a little. And with my second hand, I can come in and big squeeze like that. Give it a really, really big squeeze there. And you can see now that that is going to give you a very well squished crimp. See that? Nice. Very, very good. That is not coming undone. You can test it, of course, if you want to, by tugging on the end to make sure it doesn't come undone, which that feels good to me. So now I'm going to grab my crimp cover. Now, like I said, I reckon the biggest tip, the number one tip for adding on crimp covers is to do it on a bead mat. So I do actually have one. So maybe I will slide it down now that I've used my beads. I'll get my bead mat here. Move my crimps out. You can use your bead mat, and look, the crimp cover will stay steady. The horseshoe is just staying upright. And now great, we're back. Sorry about that. We had a major glitch just then. Sorry. So, hopefully we're back now. Sorry about the struggle there. It's back. So yeah, it's always at the vital moment, isn't it? Just as you're about to show something important, it decides it wants to die. So, now we've got this little crimp cover there. I'm going to just drop that in to that crimp cover. So see, there's my crimp cover sitting sideways. The bead mat will hold it upright for you. And you can just slip that fella in to your crimp cover like that there. See that? And just drop it in on top. So once it's now sitting in position, you can let the crimp cover be held by the bead mat. So if I just bring in my pliers now and do it from directly above, like if you don't touch the table, or rather the bead mat, you can't stuff it, if you know what I mean. So just come on in very gently and give that a little squeeze, not much, because essentially all you want it to do is close over so that the two little metal parts are closed enough that the crimp can't come out anymore. So see that? The little metal edges? See? See, it's like the little circle is closed now. It's almost closed. So the mouth, Pac-Man's mouth, is a lot more closed now. So at this point, if you just grab it at the front, see that? So it's not quite flat onto the hole like this. It's not quite flat like that. Let me move the bead mat so that it doesn't try and focus on the bead mat anymore. So yeah, if you try and just grab that little hole just off being straight, you can give that a tiny squeeze and just very gently work that little crimp cover into just very, very gentle little squeeze, little squeeze, little squeeze, little squeeze. Lots and lots of little squeezes until eventually it's going to close on up and give you that perfect finish. Sorry, just realized. There you go. Just lots and lots of little squeezes, little squeezes, little squeezes. And then eventually, there's that closed crimp cover. Perfect, right? Like you can see with the mega zoomed in camera, just a tiny little slit there. That's where the mouth was. But if you rotate it, no one is ever going to see that. And you've got a lovely little ball just there. And if any of the parts are sticking out, just give them gentle squeeze, gentle squeeze, gentle squeeze. And then you have one perfect finished design just like that there. Looks great. And now all you have to do is come in with your cutter. So the bead, the thread is exiting from, it's randomly going through a little metal loop. Just be careful of that. So it exits finally from this little bead here, this little one just there. And now what I'm going to do is just come in with my cutters flush to the crystal. So get it nice and close to that little crystal, not Billy crystal, cube crystal. And then just give your pliers, your little cutters, a snip. And then it should, there we go, break off nicely to give you one gorgeous finished little bracelet. So this one's probably a bit small, Maxine sized maybe. And yeah, a little bit small for me. Could have made it a bit bigger, but you know, it happens. So now, if I show you with this one here, this one's a bit bigger. I should be able to do this a bit more. If we just turn it over, the great thing is, oops, if it wants to behave, if you can just keep one hand there. It's another tip about when you've got toggles is if it's a little bit bigger, it's way easier to do the toggle. So once you've got the two pieces just here on the back of your wrist, all you have to do is just lift it up till you get one edge in. Once you've got one edge inside the toggle, it's way easier to get the whole thing finished. Just, whoops, just pull it through to the other side. And there you go. There's that toggle. So yeah, the first thing is to get you in. Are we still streaming? Yeah. And then that's going to give you that nice finished little thing. So I'll show you once more how you do it. Just for you, Angelica, this is just for you. Bring the two pieces up like this. So if you do it on a table, it helps. It's easy. and then just get one of the things inside. See that? As long as you got one inside, you can just use your thumb to push the rest through, pull it through like that. And there you go. Done. Beautiful. Toggle attached. Bracelet looking great, even though my arm's a bit hairy. Let's zoom out. There you go. You can have your super duper sparkly bracelet. If I zoom in, you'll see how sparkly. See, look at that. It really catches the light. It absolutely shimmers like this. And then, of course, you just take your toggle off by putting one of the bars, one of the ends of the bar through. Done and dusted. It's way easier if you make your bracelet just that little bit bigger. That's the tip to toggles, is have a bracelet that's just a little bit bigger. If the bracelet's a little bit small, it can be a bit difficult. So anyway, once you've got that as well, you can make your necklace in pretty much the same way, except this time you just extend this section here using your 4mm crystals and your 6x4s in a pleasing manner until it's exactly the size that you want it to be, and then all you have to do is put it on. So you've got your little lobster, make your matching one, attach it, and then just get it to sit where you want. If you want it to sit a little bit higher on your neck, just make that little section a bit shorter. If you want it to sit lower, make it a little bit longer. It's up to you how you do it. Whatever takes your fancy. That's why you use this fella here, so that you can do one side. So that you use this fella here so that you can do one side at a time. It means you can just make this central section first, then you can remove this and add all the beads on one side, all the beads on the other side, until you're confident that it is your size. This is the size I want my necklace to be. Take this fella off and you're finished. Now, I'm going to pop on over. I'm not going to take too long because all of these stutterings and whatnot that's going on with the website, I have no idea. So I'm going to finish off pretty quickly now. And basically, if you click the link in the description, it will take you to the Bead Spider homepage, which today looks like this. Now, if you just click on the big picture in the middle, it will take you to where you can view all of the products that we have today. So if you don't know the Bead Spider website, it is www.beadspider.co.uk, because we are in the UK. So if you go over to our website, it'll take you to this page just here. Otherwise, the link in the description will take you to the same one, where just here you can click on this just here and it will take you to where all of the products are. If you have a look, the big image in the middle, if you have a look at the ones on the right where it says Pearl Swirl, you can view the products for the Pearl Swirl. If you have a look at the one below, you can have a look at the products of our Hidden Valley. And if you click on the one below that, it will show you all of the products for our Ivy necklace kit as well. So those are the last 4 weeks of tutorials that we've done. If you want to watch the video today, watch it back, you missed the beginning or something, you can click on this button here that will say watch the tutorial, and it will take you to the page on our website where you can watch the tutorial. If you click this bottom, the button below, it will take you to where you can view our entire tutorial video library, which has about 150 videos. In fact, it has so many videos now that I need to go and update our tutorial page to make it a bit more accessible, easy to find older content. Anyway, click the link in the description that you have there. If you're on Facebook, it is up above. If you're on YouTube, it is down below. If you want to get today's necklace, the classic silver, the one that will go with absolutely everything, that is this one here. If you want to get it, £14.95. If you're in the US and it doesn't automatically change it into US dollars, just head up here to the top and select US dollars or euros. It's up to you, whichever you prefer. You can choose your currency, but then if you want to get that, you can say, yes, I'll have that one there, that's for me. Or if you decide that you prefer the purple, the lavender luster, which looks like this. This is this particular one just here. If you want to get the lavender luster, you can add that one to your basket as well. It's up to you. Again, they all make matching necklace and bracelet. Here's the ocean blue. The rainbow one is down here. over here we have the gorgeous champagne and like ambery ember color, which we've called Tangerine Dream. This one's been going very popularly thus far. I think it's perfect for this time of year. If you want to get the tool set, that's here. If you want to get one of those loopers, there's probably not too many of them left. You can get that there. And then if you just scroll on down, there's even more of the things. That thread-on stopper, if you want to get that one, that's here. You can get some extra crimps. You can get some extra of our jewellery wire, which comes in 10 meters or 60 meter lengths. There's 6x4 crystals. There's 3x4s. There's more donuts, more findings. It's all just here for you to choose if you want to get extras. But if you want to get the kit at 15% off, this one here, so it says click below to select your colors. So down here where it says select options, click on that one. Once you're in there, as long as you choose at least 3 colors, you will get that 15% discount, which in this particular case, I think equates to somewhere in the region of about £6 or £7 worth, almost £7 worth of a discount, which is quite good. In US dollars, it's probably somewhere closer to a tenner. But all you have to do is say, hey, I want the purple one, and I want the rainbow one, and you know what? I love the Tangerine Dream. Once you've got 3, the little add to basket button will pop up and you'll get your 15% discount. But if you go, do you know what? While I'm here, I want a blue one. And I'm going to make my sister a blue one, or my granddaughter, or my niece, or whoever you want. Add another one. And you can both have a blue one. You can add as many as you want. You can have 10. You can have 20 kits. I mean, obviously, no one is going to get 20 kits, I would assume, unless you're making them for bridesmaids or something. But add them in, and as long as you have at least 3, every single one after that, 15% off. 15% off. Every single one, 15% off. Got 4, 15% off that one too. Got a 5th, 15% off that one too. A 6th, 7th, a 20th, 15% off for that one too. And then add it to basket. You only have to do it once. You don't have to go, I'll pick 3, add it to basket. Oh, I'll pick a different 3, add it to basket. You don't have to do that. Say, I'll have these 4. Add it to basket. It will give you all 4 of them at the discount price there. There you go. See, 15% off has been added to your basket. There it is, all there with your discount. So, I mean, you're getting a 4th one for hardly more than it costs to get them at full price if you were going to get 3 at full price. But there you go. There's that. Now, of course, for those of you who are brand new, if you have a look in the description there's also a link for joining our newsletter and getting a £5 voucher for our beading patterns. So if you have a look on the Bead Spider website, kits and tutorials, patterns, all patterns, we have loads and loads of patterns. You get a £5 voucher that you can use to get any. So like for our Harmony tubes, £5, get it for free. Want to make this mermaid odd count peyote bracelet and learn how to do the little toggle as well? £5? No, get it for free. This is if you're brand new to the Bead Spider website. You can get big discounts on ones that have lots and lots of components involved. But yeah, we've got lots of different ones that you can choose from. If, for example, you wanted to get 4 leather jewellery products, this one's only £2. You can go and get your £3 one as well. That's £5. Bang, get them both for free. So these are for the people who are completely brand new, but we do also have loads of free ones. Look, herringbone beaded bells, free pattern. If you come on down, we have Caribou mini tile bracelet, free pattern. 3 pinch bead project download, free. £2, $2.50. They're really, really inexpensive and cover a lot of really fun projects in there as well. And we have 3 pages for you to play with. Anyway, that is pretty much it for me from today. As I said, because it's the end of the month coming up next week, we have something big, special, and fantastic coming. And do you know what? We did a poll a little while ago where we asked everyone, what do you most want to learn on our Bead Spider streams? Do you want to learn, I don't know, peyote stitch? Do you want to learn brick stitch? Do you want to do bracelets? Do you want to do earrings? What do you want to learn? This was maybe a month or two ago. This is how long it's taken us to prepare this next upcoming thing. And unanimously, well, maybe not unanimously, but an overwhelming majority said, do you know what? I want to learn bead looming. So what we've gone and done is we've got a special discounted deal, because we bought enough of them, on a Rix beading loom. So make sure you stick around for this. This is going to be next week. We're going to probably release the kit on Monday so that people can try and get it in advance. Hopefully it'll be nice and early, but if you want to get the Rix Beading Loom Super Bundle, that's going to be coming next week. We've got a really good discount on the actual loom itself because we bought a big bunch of them, and then we've put together a massive bundle which has 67 different loom patterns. It's got I think 10 different colors of seed beads. You're getting some crystals, you're getting some gorgeous check glass, you're getting some pearls in there as well. You've got thread. You'll get our DVD that we've made, the Rix Beading Loom DVD that we made. Jermaine filmed that one because it is a fantastic loom. If you've never heard about the Rix Beading Loom, it is great. It is a really, really good loom. Everything has been thought about, and that is what's coming next week. So because you asked for it and you all wanted to know about bead looms, that's what's coming next week. So make sure you're here for next week, next Friday. I'm going to teach you how to do bead looming. So anyway, that's it from me from today. I hope you had lots of fun. I hope, my apologies about the freezing that was happening. I don't know why that was, but I'm sure we'll have it sorted out by next time. But yeah, thank you all very, very much for joining me. Make sure if you want to get your discounts on the Pearl Swirl kit from last week, you have until Sunday night if you want to get that one. But yeah, that's it from me. I'm off to have a lovely weekend, and I hope you all do as well. Thanks very much for joining me once again, and I will see you all next Friday. Same place, same time, both Facebook and YouTube live. See you all later. Bye-bye.